Lumos. If Hogwarts had a Hall of Fame for rule breakers, Fred and George Weasley would have earned their portraits next to the Marauders, with bonus fireworks. These twins weren't just comic relief, they were innovators, warriors, and business moguls wrapped in Gryffindor scarves and devilish grins. Their legacy is etched into the very foundation of the wizarding world, with a few scorch marks and exploded toilets to show for it. The Weasley family, chaos in numbers. The Weasleys were the beating heart of the wizarding world, poor in gold but rich in love, laughter, and, occasionally, screaming arguments over cauldrons and owl bites. Fred and George were born into this bedlam as the identical middle children, just a few minutes apart, though they never agreed who was older. In a household full of hand-me-downs, the twins distinguished themselves not by ambition or grades, Percy had that covered, or Quidditch stardom, Charlie naturally, but by sheer irrepressible spirit. They turned the burrow into a mischief lab, from enchanted teacups that bit to fireworks in the loo. There was no rest for Molly Weasley, especially when the twins took Ron under their chaotic wings. And yet, for all their troublemaking, there was a deep love binding them to their family. Fred and George would have hexed anyone who messed with their siblings, and beneath their antics, they were fiercely loyal sons and brothers. Pranksters extraordinaire. Fred and George didn't just play pranks, they orchestrated comedic masterpieces. Their goal wasn't cruelty, but sheer spectacle. Hogwarts became their stage, and every corridor their canvas. Their arsenal included classic tricks like canary creams and portable swamps, but they pushed the limits with every passing year. Let's not forget their pièce de résistance, their dramatic exit from Hogwarts during the reign of Dolores Umbridge. Astride broomsticks, they left the castle mid-owl exams, fireworks blazing, swamps blooming, and Peeves saluting. It wasn't just a prank, it was a rebellion wrapped in a punchline. Every spell they cast, every joke they made was a declaration. Joy is power. Innovation in the name of anarchy. Far from being aimless jokesters, Fred and George were mad scientists of merriment. Their pranks evolved into prototypes, their prototypes into products. From skiving snack boxes that allowed students to skip class via instant illness, to decoy detonators used in covert resistance, their inventions became vital tools. Even Hermione had to admit, grudgingly, that their brilliance bordered on academic. Their chaotic creativity was years ahead of their time. They didn't just think outside the box, they blew it up and sold the fragments as novelty items. During the war, many of their products, like shield cloaks and instant darkness powder, were used for actual defense. Who would have guessed that the twins' joke shop would become a supplier of protective gear in the fight against Voldemort? Allies in chaos, the twins, and Harry Potter. Fred and George treated Harry like family from day one. While others tiptoed around his fame, they treated him like a normal kid, with pranks, banter, and unwavering loyalty. They were never afraid to mock him, but they also had his back when it mattered most. When Harry gave them his Tri-Wizard winnings to start their shop, it wasn't just a financial boost, it was a vote of confidence. They never forgot it, whether sneaking him food at the Burrow or standing shoulder to shoulder with him in battle. Their bond was strong and sincere. They also shared Harry's disdain for injustice, cruelty, and rules that made no sense. It's no coincidence that their Hogwarts rebellion flared brightest during Umbridge's tyrannical rule. The twins, like Harry, were born rebels, only with more fireworks. Partners in prank. The Peeves connection. If Hogwarts had a spirit animal, it was Peeves the poltergeist. And if Peeves had role models, they were Fred and George Weasley. While most students and teachers avoided Peeves, the twins embraced him like a long-lost prank god. Their mutual respect culminated in one of the most iconic moments in the series. After the twins' final stunt and exit, Fred saluted Peeves and gave him instructions to give her hell from us. It was the passing of the Mischief mantle. Peeves honoured it with glee. For once, his chaos had purpose. Together, Fred, George, and Peeves formed the unofficial resistance wing of Hogwarts, a coalition of mayhem in service of justice. Weasley's wizard Wheezes. Mischief becomes a business. Fred and George didn't follow the expected path. They dropped out of Hogwarts, much to Molly's horror, and poured their energy into Weasley's wizard Wheezes. What started as a dream in a bedroom at the Burrow exploded into a booming business on Diagon Alley. The shop was more than just a joke emporium. It was a magical experience. From puking pastilles to Wonder Witch products, the twins created an empire of joy. Children adored them, teenagers worshipped them. Even ministry officials secretly bought shield hats for testing purposes. During the Second Wizarding War, their shop became a haven, proof that laughter could exist in the shadow of fear. It was Fred and George's gift to the world, an antidote to despair. A world without Fred. Fred's death during the Battle of Hogwarts remains one of the series' most devastating moments. It was a reminder that even the brightest flames can be extinguished in war. Fans grieved, characters grieved, and George broke. Losing Fred was like losing half a soul. The twins had always been two parts of a whole, finishing each other's sentences and jokes. After the battle, George continued the shop, but it was never the same. In interviews, J.K. Rowling confirmed that George eventually married and had a son, whom he named Fred. It's a bittersweet legacy. The laughter that once echoed through the Burrow now haunted its halls. But George lived on. He carried the torch of joy not because it was easy, but because that's what Fred would have wanted. Mischief never ends. Fred and George Weasley weren't just characters, they were the soul of a generation of readers. They reminded us that bravery doesn't always wear armour. Sometimes it comes in the form of a joke, a firework, or a well-placed whoopee cushion. In the darkest times, they made us laugh, and in that laughter, we found hope. So here's to the Weasley twins, masters of mischief, defenders of joy, and legends in their own time. Mischief managed? Not quite. Their legacy lives on. Knox!